Cruise ships bring cruise passengers to the most beautiful ports around the world, but if you're not careful, you could get scammed. These are the top tricks that locals will use on cruise ship tourists to scam them while at port. JJ Cruise. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Jordan and this is JJ Cruise. Thank you so much for clicking into the video today. Well, today we're talking all about port scams. There are hundreds of ports around the world that cruise passengers will visit every single day, and unfortunately, not all locals have your best interest in mind. In fact, number one on this list, even experienced cruisers will fall victim to. So definitely watch this list in its entirety to make sure that you don't get scammed while you're on your cruise vacation. Before we get into the list today, I do just want to ask that you subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. If you like cruise content like this and you want to see more cruise videos, please hit the subscribe button. And if you like today's video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. We're going to jump right into this list. These are the top 8 scams that are currently happening this year in cruise ports. So make sure you do not fall victim to any one of these. If you have other scams to add or experiences to this list, please go ahead and throw those in the comments. We're always adding things to these lists to help educate cruisers out there to make sure that you have the best cruise vacation possible. Number 8 is called the closed attraction scam, and we've talked about it on this channel before, but it happens when you get into a taxi and while you're on your way to the destination, the taxi driver goes, "Oh, this place, this beach, this resort, it's closed. I can't take you there, but no worries. I have another place that I can take you." They will then take you to a place where they make commission for bringing cruise passengers, and often these are day resorts or beaches that are very run down and not places that you want to be. The tip here is to always discuss with the driver before leaving or even getting in the taxi where you are going to ensure that they will take you to the destination that you're looking to get to. Speaking of taxis, this next one happened to Jared and I actually just recently, and this is the taxi ripoff or taxi gouging scam that takes place all over the world. This happened to us just a few weeks ago when we were in port. Someone ushered us into a van which could seat up to 6 guests. We were only 2 people. And so the taxi driver is taking us to our destination. And once we get there, the taxi driver said, "Oh, there's only 2 of you. I could have taken more people, but since we only took 2 of you, I'm going to charge you double what I would normally charge anyone else." You don't have to be in a van for this to happen. If you haven't discussed the fare with the driver before leaving, they can charge you whatever they want. And this can be a very harsh reality or kind of a wake up upon paying the driver, because it can be $50, $60, $70 more than you expected. Always look for published prices that might be sitting at the port or at an official taxi stand. Cozumel, for example, has this. Before you get into the taxi, they have a list of what the prices are to all the popular destinations around the island. I highly recommend discussing the price or looking for the price online as to what you should be paying before ever getting in a taxi to avoid this taxi gouging scam. Number 6, we're calling the fake tour or official fake tour scam. And this will be where locals will dress like cruise ship crew, standing out at the pier or on the port with maybe a tour or some type of excursion that you can get for a super discounted rate last minute. Normally these tours are real, but you don't know what the quality of the tour is going to be. We actually did this in Tahiti. We fell victim to this and it was fine. We knew that this was not a ship excursion. We knew this was a local tour, but the tour did involve us getting into kind of a broken down bus, traveling around the island of Tahiti with really no information given. They would stop at different places and just say, "Get out, come back in 10 minutes. And then we would come back and we would go to the next destination. At the end of the day, we got to see the island of Tahiti and it was very beautiful. But if you want specific and highly educational tours, do not fall victim for taking these last minute excursions at the pier, but also do your research. There are some places, for example, like Norway, where there are tons of legitimate and very, very good tours offered at the pier. Cabo is another port that surprisingly has tons of tours and day excursions offered at the pier that are very good. But I would recommend doing some internet research before going on your cruise to find out If the ports of call on your cruise schedule are ports of call that are notorious for having these fake or really lame excursions that will cost you more than you want to spend. Number 5 is one that you really have to be cautious of, and that's the golf cart and scooter scam. Now, there are plenty of legitimate places to rent golf carts and scooters from, specifically Bonaire. Bonaire Cruisers is one of our favorite companies. When we're on the island of Bonaire, we always rent a golf cart and we take it around the island. However, there are some very illegitimate companies that will rent you golf carts or scooters, and upon bringing them back, they will say, oh, you damaged the scooter, you have to pay me $500 cash right now. I personally have known 2 people that this has happened to. Scooters in general tend to be the way that this scam goes. I haven't heard it happening much with golf carts, but when it comes to scooters, I caution you. Be very, very careful. Look up the company that you're renting from before you ever go there, and just know that there are times and places where people will claim that you've done damage to something when you actually haven't, and they won't let you go back to the ship until you've paid off those damages in cash. Number 4 is the free gift scam, and this happens outside of just ports as well. It happens all around the world and in major cities. You will see people that will be handing out things like bracelets, maybe CDs, if people still use those, books or booklets, and they'll hand them to you and they'll say, no, it's free, it's just a free gift. But then upon taking that item in your hand, you will get harassed by those people until you give them some money for what you just received from them. Never ever take anything from a stranger while at port and put it in your hands. Say, no, thank you, I do not want this, and just walk along. Otherwise, you're going to come up with a situation where you're going to probably have to slip them a $5 or $10 bill just to stop harassing you and get away from you. This is one of the oldest scams of all time, and it is still a scam that is actively happening today in major cities and major ports all around the world. Number 3 has to do with duty-free shops. Now, this is another area where you should really do your research in terms of what you want to purchase while at port. Duty-free, of course, means tax-free. You don't have to pay taxes on those overseas, but there are duty-free shops specifically in the port areas that are notorious or known for making those prices quite a bit higher so that you really aren't saving any money, even though it's tax-free. Sometimes you can find a great deal on things like alcohol or tobacco, but other times they can be gouged up 50% of the original price or what you would pay for them at home. So don't fall victim to paying way more money for a tax-free situation when you could just come home and pick something up at your local shop. Number 2 happened to a friend of mine when we were in Mexico, specifically in Cozumel, and this is credit card theft. And I'm not talking about someone just taking the credit card out of your wallet. We were going through Cozumel and doing some shopping. We were shopping at legitimate stores, but then my friend looked across the street and saw a tent where he could find things for way cheaper than what we were finding them for in the stores. My friend went over to the tent, he made some purchases, got some of his souvenirs, and then sadly, about 15 minutes after we were back on the ship, his credit cards start getting charged for bills in pesos, started getting charged for places that he didn't eat, for things he didn't purchase. His credit card had been compromised from the credit card scanner that he used in that tent. Now, this is a very easy one to avoid. Pay in cash. And if a place doesn't take cash, specifically a tent or a random table that you might see on the street selling some things, you shouldn't buy from them. You need to buy from a legitimate store. A lot of the stores in the ports and these duty-free shops that I just talked about are legitimate in the sense that they're not going to take your credit card information. But smaller places like markets, tents, little huts, these places are not the safest to be using your credit card at. So take small amounts of cash with you. You never want to carry a lot of cash when you're traveling anywhere. But if you are going to buy some things from maybe smaller markets, I would recommend taking smaller bills to use when purchasing those souvenirs. Like I said, number 1 is one of these that you definitely could fall victim to, even if you are an experienced traveler, and that's the bar tab scam. This happens to a lot of people when they go into restaurants, bars, or even day resorts, where you'll be ordering drinks. You'll say, bring me another couple margaritas. I'm going to buy a round for everyone here in my party. And what you don't know is they're using the most top shelf liquor, or so they're telling you, at the end when you get your bill. So your bill might be 5 or 6 times higher than what you expected it to be. And they might say, oh, well, that's because we gave you the best liquor that we had. We gave you the top shelf Patron or whatever it may be. Even if you didn't ask for that, that's what they are charging you. Now, another caveat here is in a lot of ports, they might charge you for top shelf liquor and they might not be giving you top shelf liquor. So there's a couple of tips that I have for avoiding this. First, I would recommend going to like an all-inclusive day resort. If you are going to a place where you just want to drink for the day, go check out an all-inclusive day resort. Paradise Beach is our favorite one that is in Cozumel, Mexico, for example. You can pay your daily rate. That includes your lower shelf drinks, and then you can pay a premium, just a one-time charge, to get the more premium alcoholic beverage package. But do something like that instead of paying a la carte, because you never know exactly what you're going to get when you're paying a la carte. Another thing you could do is just not drink on land. You could keep the drinking to on the ship. If you bought a drink package or have a drink package on the cruise ship, you know what you paid for, you know what you're getting there. Just avoid, maybe go alcohol free, stay sober for the day while you're at a certain port so you can avoid this bar tab scam that happens all too often to cruisers. Well, that was the list. These were our top scams that happen at port right now here in 2025. Let me know if you are experiencing or have experienced any other type of scam while at a cruise destination. Tell me your experience here in the comments below. And have you experienced any of these that we talked about today? Does anything on the list trigger you a little bit? I know there's several of these that I said I've had experiences with, Jared's had experiences with, or we've known people to really get ripped off while on their cruise vacation. Well, thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Jordan. This is JJ Cruise. And until next time, see ya.